right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. So I'm excited to introduce everyone to my guest today, Van Nguyen, because Van is a very successful real estate agent based in the New York area, and she is actually an international real estate agent as well, not only working with clients here locally in the United States, but also across the world in many different markets as well. So in today's episode, Van's going to be sharing with us a little bit about her experience as an agent, how she got started, and where she is now when it comes to working international clients as well. So, Van, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I know we met a few months ago at the big NAR event, and
Yes.
had a good conversation. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to dig a little bit deeper into your story. So for our audience who don't know who you are, would you mind just sharing a little bit about your background? How'd you get started in real estate and how that journey has been?
Yes, I am currently with Keller Williams Realty, and we based in New York. However, we nationwide and global wise the brokerage firm. That's also one of the reason I select Keller Williams because we really big and we global. I have the advantage of being bilingual, English and Vietnam. So it's Vietnamese is my very strong language skill, and I could, converse very quickly, and it's having fun with the being bilingual. I came to the country and have my bachelor in accounting, and I have been accounting and a controller for over 20 years. Um, when I fresh out of college, I became an investor because real estate is my great passion. And I always love to become, having a roof over my head. And that's very important to me. And once I get into investing in real estate, I realize my passion in it. So I has been investing until then. So now I has become, having a couple property in my hand, and I recently get into mind more into a fix and flip, and now I really wanted to go into my international because I wanted to go back to my Asian roof and trying to help more clients. I realized that Vietnam is a really country where we could do a lot more improvement. So in the next coming month, I'm going to go back to Vietnam and see how the market over there. And I wanted to introduce more about Vietnam real estate so that I could introduce, a little bit more. And I also going to Philippines this coming month. So those two countries are the one that I'm really focusing on right now. So if you guys have any questions, just shoot me a text, and Kobe here, very good at connecting people together. So that's why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds very exciting, actually, that you're,
Yes.
traveling in the new year as well, going into these different markets, just kind of learning a little bit more, connecting
Mhm.
with different people, potential clients as well.
Yes.
And we'll definitely dig a little bit into that today. But I wanted to kind of get your experiences because you mentioned you started out as an investor, right? So how did that, help you become, I guess, a better agent or a great agent? Because a lot of agents start out either as investors and then some go the opposite way, right? Where they're an agent first and then they invest.
Yes. Yes. So for me, right, a roof over my head is always my goal. So we have seven people in our household, and when I first graduated and got my college degree and got my full-time job, my goal is, hey, save money and get my first house. At that time, my salary is still very low, and was unable to get a house in New York. So expensive. So I just get really mad because that's my goal, and I've been saving, saving, and saving. So I went to Florida and I got my very first investment in Florida. It's just like amazing. I just go ahead and get my first house because that's my goal. So I started off at investment in Florida. I got one single house. It's not expensive. That was like 20 years ago before it crashed. And then I also got a commercial land over there. So that's what two pieces of property that I got at the first time investment. And then I go back and the bank allowed me to get my first home in New York. So that's within 1 or 2 years. That's how I got started. Um, the pain that I went through as a first home investor and a first home buyer, That's how it helped my buyers and the seller right now because I went through the process. I understand how a buyer really trying to save and get that very first mortgage qualification. That's very important. I went through all of that. So because I went through it, so I have enough experience. And 20 years later, with that experience and the mindset, I'm a very positive person. So I could guide my client and say, hey, I'm going to hold your hand. Don't panic. We're gonna go through it. We're gonna go through it together. So that's how I help the buyers, go through and get the first home.
Yeah, I think that's a great experience to have, right? Because I mean, there's different markets around the country where, sometimes it's maybe a little bit easier for people to get into a home. New York's definitely maybe one of the harder markets,
Oh
right? Because
yes.
of prices. So I mean, you were able to draw on that experience and help people get into their first homes, and that's what's, essentially helping you now be able to serve clients and help them understand that process, right? Because you've also been through it yourself.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very interesting actually. So, talk to us now a little bit more about kind of your international experience, right? You mentioned that you wanted to kind of go back to your roots, right? And you're
Mhm.
helping clients all across the world. So what does that look like now with when it comes to international real estate? Are you helping clients kind of purchase homes in your market? Or are you doing a lot of referrals outside to other agents in other countries as well? What does that look like for you at the moment?
So me, I'm kind of like both because anything that I feel like I'm not having enough experience or connection to different state or country, I refer it out. Because if I actually trying to hold on to that sales, I'm making a disservice either to myself or to the client. So for me right now, because I realize that a lot of clients from my country, we wanted to buy something. We have a little bit of money, but we don't know where to invest, and we don't know who to trust. And we from one country want to invest in another country, either from U.S. to Vietnam or from Vietnam to U.S. That's we go both way, and we save so hard for our money and we really wanted to use that kind to money to invest and earn it a little bit more. So my goal is help them to understand a little better. It's not only getting them the right property that they're looking for, it's also the financial process, the visa process, all of that tied together. Because in order to visit one another, you're gonna have to get the visa. How would you do that? I also have that kind of connection. How about you're gonna get a finance? You're not gonna pay everything in cash. It's so expensive. Either if you go back to Vietnam and you find it because me, I'm connecting with a couple of developers here, either here or in Vietnam, and my trip already booked with appointment with the developer. So I'm gonna have an idea of where on depending on what kind of property or location my buyers or my seller are looking for, then I'm gonna match them together. So that's my job. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, right. That's the job of a real estate agent, but I think it's really unique, right? The fact that you're able to connect people from different countries that want to invest, right, either from Vietnam to the US or the other
Mhm.
way around as well. So I want to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that, right? So if
Mhm.
somebody's from, Vietnam or maybe in a different country, but obviously that's your specialty,
Yes,
what are some things that they need to be considering when they start investing or start looking for investment properties in the US?
right. So let's say you have a huge chunk of cash, but you don't have enough. You need a little bit of financing. So do have a team for that. You aiming a property in New York. That's my specialty. I'm gonna be able to help you with that one. Uh, hey Van, I'm looking at this property. I wanted to see it. I'm gonna book a trip for you to view, just a couple. Before we do that, I'm gonna look at your financial. I'm gonna look at your visa. I have a visa organization who's gonna help you with that as well because that's very important. You need to go and see it. Um, so once we have that settled, and either in the middle of the process, we still gonna be able to book and help you to come and see the property in person. We're gonna view Zoom first, we talk first, and then we're gonna do that. It's a little bit time consuming, but I still prefer my client to go and see the property. Sometimes we book the appointment, we book the house first, and then they're gonna go see after. But I don't feel comfortable with that. I want you to see it first. Spend a couple of thousand to see it. Just make sure that this is what you're looking for. Um, Also, they need to tell me what they want. Either they want a school specialized, are they or looking for some kind of a neighborhood that they want to look for in the city, outside of the city. They're gonna have to tell me so that I'm gonna have to help them with that. Um, that's basically it. I mean, it's every transaction is different, so we're gonna have to see how best we're gonna serve our clients.
Right. So a lot of these clients coming over, are they mostly looking to kind of move to the US as well, or are they just kind of trying to park their money here, internationally?
Depending on some of the parents who have their student, want to come here and study. Basically, they're looking for somewhere to rent it first. I have a group of people who, have their apartment available. They want to rent it out first. I help them with that and then gonna buy after. Once those are the people who normally don't want a temporary a visa only, but they really want something permanent. So I know for sure that those group gonna be to buy later. So I'm not looking for long-term rental. So that those are my focus. So that's very important. The most important thing is you're gonna have to qualify your buyers. That is so important. A lot of people are gonna say, "Hey, I have such and such," but you need to see it. You need to actually see proof to make sure you do not waste your time.
Right. Exactly. You want to make sure that, you're working with people that have potential to become a client, right, in the future.
Right, right. And some client actually asked me if I could fund them the trip. That's a big no-no, because if you want to invest, you're gonna have to invest your time and money. There's no freebie in the world. That's no free lunch over here. So if you really wanted to go into that, it's a big money. So if you're unable to willing to spend a couple grand at the beginning for your initial investment, that's a red flag. Don't do it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, you're financing somebody's trip over here to have a vacation, right, to New York just to
No,
visit.
no, 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 no vacation over here, baby. Mm-mm.
I know.
Oh, God.
That's a good tip for anybody who's working with people internationally, right? Don't try.
Oh yes, oh yes. For some reason, I think buyers kind of think that we New Yorker have some kind of like myth that we just here for vacation. No, no, we business people.
Right. Right, exactly. I know. But that's I think that's pretty interesting as well. So I think it's a good strategy that you have, right? Because people who are looking here to move here internationally, they're not looking to buy maybe right away. Maybe they want to
Okay,
rent it, they want to see what's happening.
yeah.
So what are some of the ways that you're able to kind of keep in contact with, your renter clients first that will potentially become buyers? Because sometimes it might take a little while. It might not take multiple years, but it might take
Mm-hmm.
a few months or up to a year before they're ready to, pull the trigger and actually buy something.
Yeah, so your database is your data bank. So you're gonna have to keep them on top of mind. Just put them on your calendar. A couple month quarterly touch up. Just say, hey, follow up. How's you doing? How's your rental going? How's the house? The apartment that I rented out for you. How is it? Do you need any kind of help? Just a couple texts here and there. If you have international regular text would not be fine. So you can do either WhatsApp or whatever the Instagram app that you have over there. Keep in touch and keep their email as well. That's very important.
Yeah, I think that's important as well because with email, I think it's something that can't necessarily be taken away.
Mhm.
I've heard of stories of people getting their social media platforms banned for different reasons.
Yes,
So email doesn't happen, right? So you have a way to make sure that you can reach back out to somebody if you needed to.
absolutely. That's very important. And also, once that the buyers or the client reach out to you, they need an answer. So follow up is very important. Don't forget that. So important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty common theme for very successful agents who are able to be in this industry for a while is that nothing happens overnight, and this is something that you need to stay on top of long
Yes,
term with follow up and continue to touch in your database.
absolutely.
Yeah, so let's look at the other way around now, right? So we talked a little bit about people who are looking to move here to the United States, potentially investing here. So when you're working
Hmm.
with clients doing the opposite of that, right? Maybe they're
Hmm.
already living in the United States and then maybe they want to invest some of their money into Vietnam in real estate. What does that process look like? I mean, you obviously have probably more experience than most agents, right? Who don't understand the market over there. So what
Yes.
does that process look like?
So with the investment in Vietnam, it's a little bit tricky because when we invest, right, we don't have the ownership right. It's the rental right. So after 40 years, 30 years, then it's gonna change a little bit. But right now, the tricky part is we don't have ownership. It's only like the rental right of 30, 40 years. So a lot of us still, kind of like unsure about that. So regarding investing in Vietnam, we still very how should I say, still on the surface. But there's a lot of opportunity out there. I'm sure it's gonna change. But right now, it's a good opportunity to go in and test the water. Because we are having a couple investors who really wanted to go in, and even if you non Vietnamese speaker, there's a lot of English speaker over there, and would be able to help you. So when I go back to my country, this coming month, I'm gonna connect with a lot of people who we're gonna build a better, a bigger team in order to service all of that global client who wanted to invest in Vietnam. Now in the Philippines, however, we have because it's already there and very big. I actually own a couple of property in the Philippines right now. Should it be recorded? Uh, so with Philippines, we're gonna have to. We already have a couple a developer appointment over there. So when I go, I'm gonna have to see and show you guys what it look like. Newly built existing property, and there's a lot of always huge development over there. It's just like incredible. And these two countries are really big on the top of the list that, it's a great investment in Asia.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's a lot of people who are looking to invest in, other countries, outside the United States and seeing where the opportunities are at. So when it comes to, I think, analyzing investments, you can go through, Vietnam first and then talk about the Philippines as well. But
Mhm.
what are some things that you think people should be looking for when they're analyzing an investment, right? Because if you're putting your money across, overseas across the world, then you want to make sure that it's safe, it's secure. Obviously all investments have risk, but you want to make
Uh,
sure that it's as secure as possible. So what are some things that you would say people should look for when it comes to putting their money in a as safe as possible investment?
Yeah, so if you want it to be every investment have a risk. So if you really wanted to be able to invest globally, you're gonna have to do it the right way. So when we connecting with the investor here in US to in Vietnam, you need to connect with a professional in the US and then another professional locally in Vietnam. So those two teams gonna work together to help you. We're gonna have a team that do paperwork for you in Vietnam and in here also. We're gonna connect. We're gonna have to work together in order to get the paperwork right. It's under your name or your company name, LLC or corporate. You're gonna have to do it, and also for tax purposes as well. Is it who's gonna be under? So all of that you're gonna have to think in advance. Some people say, "Hey, I'm gonna put it in my relative name." No, that's a big no-no. Do not put your business in somebody else's name. Don't do that. There's a lot of risk, and even though you trust relative and everything, but you never know what's gonna happen. And there's a lot of things going on with the money wise, and I've seen that happen a lot. So I really advise against having a relative to own your piece of property. Destroy everything, a relationship, money wise, everything. So do it the right way. connect with a professional. Don't just say, hey, this person know this. No, no, no. Connect with a professional. Don't think that you actually could save money by doing that way. But once you spend a little bit to hire a professional, it saves you in the long run.
Right. And I think it's a good tip because, if you're looking to purchase property in a different country and you don't really know anybody there, you may be trying to find somebody who is working as a professional in the other country, but you don't know whether or not they're going to serve you correctly, right? So it's better to find somebody here locally, right, like yourself, who has connections, and then that way you were working with somebody you trust, and then the referrals that they give you could be trusted as well. So it's good to have that go between.
Absolutely, that is so important because relationship and connection is so important. But everything runs smoothly, it's totally fine. The one that we actually value our relationship is when something happens, when a problem arises, who you gonna call? If you call that person, would that person pick up the phone? So that is when the relationship or evaluation gonna be, based on that one situation arise. Is it trustworthy enough, or those are kind of the thing that we have to really value on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think
Mhm.
something very important, right, when it comes to investing, not just locally, but also internationally when it comes to, finding somebody that you can trust. So, one of the things I really want to kind of get your take on and just, dig a little bit deeper into how you operate your business is how you're making all of these connections, right? So obviously we met at a big event, so it does seem like you like to go out there, network, go to events. So
Yes,
how are you
yes.
making these connections, not just with clients, but also with vendors
Mhm.
in the industry that can service you?
Right. Right. So, networking is very important. As you mentioned before, that not only that we wanted to find a client, we also find a co-worker. We also find vendors who, hey, I'm gonna. When you and I met at the North in Houston, we're gonna say, hey, are we actually connect in a professional level? Because when we talk, right, we kind of could mirror each other to see, are we going to work well together or we not? It's so important to me that in our professional kind of, we're gonna have to see, are we gonna trust that person enough? Is that person knowledgeable enough so that you could refer your client to that person? So you're gonna have to test the water to see how it is, and everything take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you want to be able to meet people and understand whether or not you can work with them and,
Mhm.
check a little bit into kind of their background maybe just to see,
Correct.
right? Because when you refer a client to somebody else, that is a reflection on who you are,
Mhm.
right? And then if they don't do a good job, then the client's going to think of you and then they're going to think, this is a bad experience and
Oh,
it's
yes. Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah, so you don't want that to happen. So, I mean, so is that, your main strategy at the moment is just going out there doing networking events, or do you have other avenues too when it comes to, reaching potential clients and also potential vendors?
I work on the referral base, and also once that we go out to our event, right? What we could do is talk to people. The more you talk, the more feeling that people are gonna get to know you a little bit more. And even though we on the internet a lot right now, social media, just get yourself out there, make sure that people see your face, and when you go out on an event, you're going to see somebody and they say, oh, I know you. That's you go. That's you go. So I'm also wanted to put my face out there a lot. So that's why when I networking, I'm speaking to a lot of people, introduce myself. Hey, I'm a real estate agent, and see if I could connect a lot more vendors so that I could, map the way to help my client. Because even though that we are in real estate, there's so much involved in just, not a piece of land, just a piece of property, because there's so much more attorney, construction, social media, all the marketing, all of that. You're gonna have to connect people together. Otherwise, it's gonna be a big failure for you.
Right. Yeah, there's so many people involved in just even a single real estate transaction, right? Especially if you're trying to do things across borders, then there's even more people involved. So
Right.
it's really important to have those connections, and I think you're doing a great job of, putting yourself out there. I remember that's pretty much how we met as well. You were introducing yourself to everybody who was within a few feet of you, and then that's, how we were able to get connected, and you were kind of like like leading your own group even at that event as well.
Absolutely, yeah, because as you mentioned that if you remember correctly, the positive energy at our table is just so high, and that's how I love it so much. And this is what we all about. The energy of people around you is so important.
Yeah. And I think it brings up a good point as well, because in real estate, I mean, there's a lot of problems that can arise even with
Yes.
a single transaction. So I would love to kind of get your take on just how you're able to maintain such a positive attitude and maintain positive energy throughout your day, throughout your month, and really, throughout your year as well.
Oh, I do vent a lot. So, but you can't but you can't really vent it in front of the client. So sometimes because this is a big investment for almost everybody. When we buy in the house, even a couple hundred or a couple $1 million is still somebody saving. So, we got really frustrated if we can't get our way. And my job and anyone who in our real estate professionalism, we're going to have to keep our professional in check. We can't really ride on the emotional level because it's going to be like a roller coaster. We have to hold our client um, and course have to be, make sure that we're gonna have to be calm. We're gonna have to be. We could vent after, but in front of a client, no. Stay focused because the client gonna feed on your emotional. If you get really cranky, they're gonna see it. They're gonna feel it, and it's not good.
Yeah, could you imagine if, you as a real estate agent, you're supposed to be somebody who, should guide them, right? And then you're like all over the place and you don't really know what's going on.
Uh-huh.
That's going to make the client feel, extremely fearful, I would say.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. That's the correct way to say it. Fearful. You don't want that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely not. So I think it's good that you have a way to vent, right? You vent and then
Yeah.
you let it all out. And then when you're with the client, then, it's all professional and you're able to maintain that. And then you vent
Uh-huh.
afterwards. So you got to have some kind of outlet, right?
Oh yeah, that's so important because if you imagine if you actually bottle up inside, right? The pressure cooker, if you cook a lot, you're gonna see you gonna you're gonna have to let it vent, otherwise it's gonna bust.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
gonna overflow, right? And
Yeah.
that's
Yes. Hmm.
well, man, I just want to say thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule and just joining us for today, sharing a little bit about yourself, what you're doing in business, and also just sharing some good advice and tips for agents and clients and investors out there as well. For anybody out there who's listening to this that wanted to kind of get in contact with you, stay in contact with kind of what you're doing, maybe, get some highlights from your trip coming up
Uh-huh.
that you'll be sharing. What are some of the best ways for people to just stay in contact with you and to continue following you in your journey?
Sure. You guys could, we have the WhatsApp account 917-402-0139. That's my cell phone number also. You could, call or text and an email at vansellthathouse@gmail.com or my Instagram at vansellthathouse. Or Kobe have the great way to connect so that, we could, piggyback one another. And that's how we do our job.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure to leave the links to your social media and contact information, the description, the show notes down below.
Mhm.
But other than that, man, I just want to say thank you again for being with us here today. Before we let you go, is there any like last advice, last piece of golden nuggets that you want to leave with us here today?
Yes, I really appreciate all of the connection that I make in 2025 and 2026. I'm going to be more focused and surrounding me with good, positive energy individual. That is so important because we have our up and down all the time on our daily life, but we still need positive energy everywhere we're going to. It's so important. In order to keep it yourself and pass it on to the next person, please do so. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. We'll see you guys on the next show. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.